up, man?
What's going on? This is why we had to do this. What's up, E-May? That's why we had to do this, because I feel like you're the most excited over the music, period. Like, I don't care, anybody. You're just the most excited and hyped always. So I love you for that. And your wife. Y'all stay, like, supporting and showing love. I appreciate y'all.
It's genuine, man. We fucks with you. It's like, it ain't no, you know what I mean? It's like I said, we was throwing furniture. We're going to play the furniture. Yo,
You're so silly.
My wife was throwing furniture to each other. This shit's, so hard, man.
I don't have insurance for none of that. I'm not replacing any desks or side table chairs.
There's a dent up in here, right? Yo, this shit was crazy. So, woo, yeah.
What's good?
And so here's the thing. You built it up by, we had to reschedule a few times. So now I'm like, ugh. So, everybody, look. Episode 145 of the Carrying the Culture Show. It's your boy Tamal, like Jamal, but with a T. Excited for this one. Certified killer alien. She ain't from this galaxy. You'll pull your face off like V. You ain't from here.
So violent. I love it.
Not from here. You're not from here. Yo, Boogie Down Bronx. Listen, Queen Herawin, Juggernauts, third time around. Thank you so much, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
I need to calm down. I'm really excited though. I mean, I fucks with you. We rock with you heavy, and you get me and wifey screw face all the time. And third time we've had you on. And everybody, check out the build we did with Brother Jay from X Clan about hip hop and education. That was really good. It's on our YouTube channel.
It was a great conversation.
Yeah. He was showing some love. He said, "Yeah, I rock with Queen Herawin," because we were doing a show where we were giving flowers. He was like. He said, I rock with her. So,
icon. Here for it.
That was good. So, that was a good build. Good. Thank you. So, if you guys got questions for Herawin, please drop them in the questions feature below.
Put them in there.
We can pull them up. But what we're going to really get into, first and foremost, for the first part of the show, is the new album. And then we're going to talk some other stuff. There's a lot of things I want to get into. So, an hour will go by quickly.
Yeah, I already see that. Shout out to everyone in the chat. E-May was in there, like the iconic Pittsburgh up in the building. Shout out to Miss B. So much love, people sharing, just supporting.
If I hear you coming out to Pittsburgh though the next time, and we don't come through here.
But I didn't know you were there when I was there. That's the whole thing. I didn't know. You know who told me? Breeze. When I came back, Breeze was like, "Yo, Tamal's out there, right?" I was like, I had no idea. So next time, I will definitely let you know that I'm out there. No question.
It was hot.
I had no idea. But now I know. I know.
I mean, I'm hopefully getting out of this hellhole soon, but I'm gonna keep it up. But,
yeah. Hey,
yeah. So, but we gonna if you come out here, definitely let me know. So, let's jump right into it. Album on the way. And what I want to get into though is, to be honest with you, one of the things that bothers me in hip hop is hip hop standard time and how things just kind of don't happen when they're supposed to happen, and it's like, damn, people aren't punctual, and when you are punctual, it's like you look at you like you're crazy. You're a teacher, you have to be on time, you have deadlines and things like that. So how do you, man? This album's been delayed a couple of times. In general, how have you dealt with like this aspect of the industry? As far as like time delays. And you don't have to get into details why the album's delayed, but I'm just saying in general, like, because for me, I get so frustrated.
I get frustrated too. And how do I deal with it? Not well. No, I mean, it's frustrating, but at the same time, if you're being honest with yourself, there are other caveats and there's other situations, but ultimately it comes down to you and things that you could have done different. Ways that I could have navigated the situation different, or, navigated relationships different, or been more prompt, or been more communicative. So ultimately, at the end of the day, it's like any situation, you know what I mean? You could point the finger, but ultimately it's always going to come back to you. How did you handle it? How could you have handled it better? And I think that moving forward, every time it's handled a little bit better, but as an educator, part of education is assessment, right? So it's like you could have a lesson, you could plan for it, you could teach it, and it may not go exactly how you had planned. even if you feel like you've executed it to all elements. You may have a student who comes in, they're not feeling well. There might be a fire drill in the middle of your lesson. Like, there's always going to be other X factors that play a role. And even if you had it planned to the T, there are going to be things that could potentially shift that. And so next time it's like, well, how do you modify that? How do you plan and how do you prepare for that? And, you know, I think the album is no different. You know what I mean? There were days and weeks that I should have been on my grind more so with certain things so that I was ahead of time, you know, or I should have made calls sooner than waiting later on, or, you know, managing my time better. And also that's in between parenting, that's in between teaching and lifing. So, you know, it's a balance, especially when you're doing so much of this as an independent artist or as a small business, you know. So there are challenges that come with it, but you always have to come back to what did I do and how could I have handled this better for the next time.
That makes sense. I mean, so there were things that you could have done that could have sped it. All right, so it wasn't just like you just got shellacked on this and this.
No. I mean, I've been so blessed with the people who are part of this project. I mean, the level of just gratitude, extension, abundance, creativity has just been mind-blowing on this project. Seriously, like this project is really a dream come true when I think about just collaborations and stuff like that.
Yeah, you got some heat rocks on here. We're gonna jump into the furniture throwing track in a minute.
For sure.
So yeah, talk about Awaken the Sleeping Giant. And I really want to get into some of these, you know, song titles and stuff like that. What's the energy behind it? I mean, it's like the joints that I've heard are dope, and it's like a lot of these topics are, you know, really important things that we should be talking about and stuff like that. So I really want to get into some of these. So like, how did this come about?
I mean, it came about from probably holding on to a lot, from not creating, from being in a space of like 2 years and not creating anything. And as an artist, like anything else, it's like creative constipation. It's like eventually you're going to have to put it down. You know what I mean? And so I held on for a while to just a lot of emotions, thoughts, creativity, and for a variety of reasons. And then eventually I heard a track that just inspired me. I wasn't in a space of inspiration. I mean, hip hop and music, I love. That's who I am. That's what I do. But I just wasn't inspired for a while. I was just in a bad place. I wasn't in the best place. And I heard this track, shout out to Solitaire, Beats by Solitaire in Chicago, Marlon. I heard this track that he had put out or he had sent. I actually requested a couple of tracks because of some other stuff I was working on. And Marlon sent me like maybe a few. And one of them, which became Anger, was the first song that really spearheaded all of this. And I heard Anger and I was like, yeah, that's it right there. I actually want to write again. I want to get back to the writing again. And it's so ironic or not that it was Anger. It was like, you know, which is ill because this project and just life as a metaphor, we often go through loss and grief through different kinds of loss. And anger is one of the stages of loss. Anger is one of the stages of loss. It's actually like the second one, even though it's not linear, it's like the second one. And so shock is usually first when someone dies or you have some kind of grief induced situation. And after shock comes anger. And so when you think about shock is paralyzing. You know what I mean? Like it'll stop you in your tracks. And I think I was stopped in my tracks for a while. I was in a shock state because of other stuff happening. I had recently just transitioned and moved from Chicago back to New York. And I was dealing with some things with processing that. And then finally, when I heard the beat and the words came, anger was the emotion that resonated the most for me. And I kind of just flushed out a lot of stuff on that. Even the track and that the way I approached it is unorthodox, and I didn't really care. It's not like a 16, 16, 16. It's like a 16, 8 or 12, 8. And I didn't really care. I just kind of went with how I was feeling. And that's kind of how it is when you're angry. You kind of just don't care. Peace to Save the Hip Hop Culture, Illogy, my brother, who's actually on this album as well.
Yeah, big up Illogy. So now just Brooklyn in the building. Yeah, man, like anger's a big one. A Plus and I have a show. It's on hiatus right now. It's on mental health, and we've discussed anger. and it's like it's a crazy emotion, man. It's like because from what I learned, it typically comes from a source of hurt.
Of
It's like
course.
most people are never just angry just because. I mean, those people, it's rare, but like usually, like you always, if you peel away the onion, right, you can see like, damn, like you're hurt, and you
Always.
lash out, and we don't really know how to process
Right.
that. So it's a I read a quote where it's like it's very hard for someone to know when to be angry, how to be angry, what capacity, to what degree.
That part. I actually was about to speak to that. And I think in
Right.
the culture of Black and brown people, we're either automatically associated as angry, although we do have a lot to be angry about. So when we do vent, it's either the stereotypical they're being this, or they're being that. She's being this, or he's acting like such. So even just from a societal standpoint, we don't have the freedom to just be angry sometimes. And sometimes you need to be that, right? If you hold on and repress all of that anger, and then it becomes explosive and dangerous to yourself and potentially others. I love Illa G said I'm mad right now. But it's real. If you don't have the space, to Illa's point, you need to have a safe space to be able to vent in a way that's not harmful, but in a way that's authentic to how you're feeling. Otherwise, then yes, it becomes dangerous. And we often don't have that space because we're always stigmatized as being in a constant state. That's not the only expression that we have, but we also have legitimate reasons to be angry. So we need to have creative spaces and safe spaces that we can do it in a constructive way, like hip hop, like music, like boxing, like whatever. You know what I mean?
Surround yourself with people that will allow you to like be yourself. Like, I mean, I'm just coming out of something right now, dealing with some fuck shit of where I'm labeled like the tyrant Genghis Khan up in this bitch. Just
yeah, you stay in that mode, but you create authentic and honest conversations. And controversy is still, conversation inducing. It's like you still got to have conversations. And when you start to pick at the source, sometimes people don't want to hear it. There's Miguel Ruiz, one of my favorite books.
The Four Agreements.
No, the other one.
Is that the same guy you're talking about?
It's the same one, but it's not the Four Agreements. So I can't think of it. Say it again.
Think of the other book.
It's going to come to me, or I'll share it and then you can share it. But anyway, there's a section in this book that talks about you have to clean the wound. So you have to go through it. You have to unravel all that stuff, the nasty stuff that you don't want to have to deal with in order for the wound to actually heal properly, right? So sometimes we don't want to go back into stuff. People always say, oh, you want to go back into that. Sometimes you have to in order to freshly clean it, and then you can move forward. If it's infected and it's still there, you could die. I mean, I'm just saying, metaphorically speaking, right? Or literally. So sometimes we got to go back and we got to clean through stuff we don't want to deal with. We got to address the wound.
Yeah, and have I was telling my daughter that sometimes you got to have the hard conversations too. Like, just have them, because it's sometimes pull that shit off. It's easier, man. Like it's just I like this. We got a problem. Oh, let's talk, man. What's good?
Absolutely.
Like, you can talk to me. Oh, I thought you were mad. Don't think. Ask me. You know what I'm saying? I go through a million mood swings in an hour. Like, you make it. So feel free to ask me. And people who know me, like, yo, just you good? I'm like, yeah, I'm good. I'm just a little whatever. All right, I need my space. All right, thank you. So it's like, we sometimes, like we said, though, we don't have the room to do that so very often, though.
And also the freedom with relationships, as you mentioned earlier. Shout out again to Illa G. We were talking about healing a couple of weeks ago. He put me onto a good book. And so, we have to have these conversations more too, again, in this hip hop space and just in this life space, this family space. This is the stuff that's going to get us to the next points within ourselves, and then in relationships. Shout out to Gangali. So many people showing love. I appreciate you.
Fucking top 5. Like, it's about these things. We're old now. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so let's get it. I want to get into a couple other track titles, just because, I mean, it's really, these are things that are really important. So the song you were playing was Gluttony, which is going to be on here, but you dropped it already. But like, that shit just, when you say I'm feeling like straight meat, I'm like, I fucking can relate. You know what I mean? Like,
absolutely.
I feel like
absolutely.
Just like I feel like sometimes.
Nah, Gluttony was another really important song. It was originally called Meat. And after a kind of like a digital conversation, shout out to Pharaoh Monch, I had shared anger with him, and he was like, yo, maybe you should consider this idea of exploring different emotions for the project in itself, like as a whole, you know, as far as bringing everything together. And it started to have me shift about some of the things I was thinking, some of the songs that I had and future songs where I could go with it. And it made total sense. I'm like really in gratitude to that. So I went from calling meat gluttony, just this idea of over consumption of things, whether it's stress, whether it's actually in my verse, the second verse particularly, I talk about like just police issues, brutality, racial stuff, and how oftentimes we're just seen as meat or animals, or you know what I mean, non-human, and how that affects the psyche, how it's affected us in the past. And again, not to harp on that, like that's the only thing, but again, things that need to be discussed and talked about. Also in relationships, feeling like straight meat, like not feeling appreciated, not feeling valued. And so like this overindulgence in something, and overindulgence can be something negative too. It's not only overindulgence with food or overindulgence, it could be behavioral, or just things societal. And then of course, Breeze comes through. Shout out to my brother Breeze in the building. Breeze Brewing just comes and slays the track, you know, and just talking about devouring dudes, which is why you always got to love him, you know, because, you know, he comes, I'm over here, the philosophical. He's like, look, let me just chop up the meat and, you know what I'm saying, create some straight oxtail stewed chicken and, you know what I mean? So he just goes ham. Exactly. Ham sandwich on it. Thank you, Illagy. He goes ham sandwich on it. And obviously with the beat, Neff Beats did that and just created all kinds of excitement with that. You know, it just sounds gritty and sounds like you want to tear a leg of something, a leg of lamb off. I don't know. So
yeah, Breeze has that. Like, I mean, like, it's weird. Like Breeze will have you like, from a lyrical perspective, like you'll just look up after he's done rhyming and feel like you just got all these flesh wounds, just all gashed up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You would just come at people like, just in my opinion, and just here the fuck I come.
I like to think of it like this, and thank you for that. Let's talk about this briefly. I like to think of it like this. When I think about my brother, when I think about Breeze lyrically, he's like a sniper. He's like a sniper silencer. You're just gonna be walking, you know, going to the corner store to, you know, I don't know, get, you know, a turkey and cheese sandwich, and all of a sudden you laid out. He's just a silent killer, right? And so I think of him like straight silencer sniper, like quick. Me, you gonna hear me come in, it's gonna be like an atomic bomb, you know, it's just gonna be loud and unapologetic and just unnecessarily nonsensical. You know, Breeze is just gonna very quick to the point. I don't have time for all of this.
Yeah,
you know, I'm gonna just lay you out quick.
Breeze will put the hand over your mouth and you just disappear. You know,
right.
Gone. Like just all of a sudden,
exactly.
All of a sudden your team is like 3 people less, and like, damn, where they go? Like you.
Correct. That's a fact. I'm kicking the
RPG on the shoulder.
He's coming in like that.
Yeah, I got it.
Correct.
Just battering. We raiding the house. You just coming in raiding the shit. Like,
boom. Raiding it. He's coming in with the silencer, fumes on it.
Yeah, he wait. Absolutely. Breeze waiting for people to escape. Oh, Don, you think you thought she was running away? Pow!
I love that. I love that.
You.
Absolutely.
And then y'all dap it up after and then go speak.
Most definitely.
And then go teach them babies some shit.
Right.
So yo,
teach the babies. Don't be violent after.
Don't do what we just did.
Correct.
Yo, we about to get into the domestic violence. No, it's not just being silly. Can't say shit in 2024.
No, you can't, because real stuff, man. Yeah. Real stuff going on.
All of a sudden,
real stuff.
Listen, please don't call 911. We're cool here. But this track had me and wifey fucking. We just looked at each other when we first put this on. I'm gonna play this. Poison Pen's on this. Right? Yeah.
Shout out to Poison Pen. Shout out to Johnny Slash. Actually, Penn put me on to Johnny Slash, the producer of this next joint you're gonna play. And Penn's verse is ridiculous. I get angry when I listen to it. But this is not anger. This is you could let the folks know what this is.
Yeah, but so here's the thing, because of the way my page is, I can only play like literally like 30, 40 seconds.
That's
so I'm gonna play yours.
Totally fine.
play your joint. Yo, this shit is crazy.
Yes, Heroin and Pen.
Ooh. I'm telling you. Hold on. Oh, so look at that. No, it's fucked up. This the same. Did you send me another track?
I don't know. The last joint I sent you was something you gotta like select on. I don't know if you have the right version.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, it was something weird. I was like, oh, she got the super techie. Hold on, everybody. You're not gonna be able to hear it as well because of the audio, but everybody else will be able to hear.
Okay.
I mean, you'll be able to hear it, but not as well.
That's all.
Just a little bit arrogant. I'm feeling a little bit arrogant. Just a little bit dangerous. Dangerous like these variants of flexing arrogance, starting shit like alphabet, and I only rap a bit. Imagine if I tap a bit. Shit, be popping like obnoxious sounds from clowns with sweaty armpits. Alarming, my pen and comment that tends to vomit acidic ass lyrics that sample on your garment. Content white like vomit, heinous. These lines aggressively placed like in a Jackson Pollock painting. Whose team it is goddess, who enjoys wearing a harness. Dominatrix, extricating mental bondage. Kind of pompous, here at least I'm honest. Ain't no time for humility when calamity is upon us. And then I need 4 more bars. And then I need 4 more bars. And then I need 4 more bars. But fuck it, I'm in charge.
So we're sitting there, and we weren't planning on listening to music, and I was like, oh, yo, you sent me these joints. I was like, so she's doing something, I'm doing something. I just threw this on. We start looking at each other. We were like, yo, hold up, yo, like what the on here, like boys and pen, and we like, yo, wait, and, so this is what you guys have to look forward to. This is on the upcoming.
Appreciate y'all. Yeah.
That's
And
we put a whole
Pen's verse is amazing. It's interesting, like, you know, I've known Pen for many, many years and, you know, respected Pen. Everyone, you know, even obviously my brother in here, Elegy, who stay with the jokes, you know, same just for years, knowing in different capacities. And it's just been really dope to collab with people who you really respect and respect their craft. And wildly, it's so bugged because the synergy has been really amazing. Like musically, just hearing the voices back to back, and the Pen joint, Arrogant, is really special. Yeah, for sure.
So okay, so then I mean, you know, they got a lot of different joints here. So like where were you going with that? Or what was, because that shit's
I mean, Arrogant was you know, I want to be mindful because you never know where this is going to end up. But I was in the studio one evening, and like I said, Pen had put me on to Johnny Slash, his production is just ridiculous, amazing. And it was supposed to be a different track originally. And I waited too long on that. Back to what we were talking about originally, I waited too long and I was so disappointed. I had the idea, and Pen was like, well, I have somebody who's in a similar tone for that beat, you know, check them out and see. And then I heard that track and I was like, oh, this is amazing, which is not easy to do because I don't know about others, but for me as an artist, this is something to work through in this idea of attachment versus non-attachment. So if I have an idea and I have a beat and it just goes together, it's hard to find another track if that track doesn't work out that actually matches what it is you're trying to do. That's a real challenge. You know what I'm saying? So for Johnny to come through and have that track and it just made sense, it was like beautiful. And so when we put that together, Arrogant happened in the studio one night, and I was definitely, it wasn't Ray and Nephew, but it was something. And so there was a little bit of a libation happening that evening, to the point that it actually frustrated, shout out to Shelton Lionface Studios. He was like, yo, man, come on, man, like, come on. And I was just, I was in a moment. I was just feeling it, this is why Arrogant is actually beautiful. And it's ironic because I'm not the type to go around and be like, yo, I'm the joint. That's, you know, I'm whatever. However, culturally, as MCs, you know, that's what you do. You pop off. You're like, yo, I'm that one, right? I'm that one. Again, back to societal stuff. It's like, you know, well, I'm nice, you know, kind of cute. You know what? We don't pop off, but the people who pop off and is like, yes, this is what I am, and celebrating yourself, celebrating your wonderfulness, your creativity. This is something that we should be able to do as a culture as well. Right. It's like, why do we feel shameful or nervous to do these things, to have these conversations? And so Arrogant became a space where I was like, you know what? Even if it's just on this track, even if it's just for this moment, I'm going to just say what it is. And that's why in the hook, it's like, just a little bit arrogant. Right. It's like, just a little bit. Like, just give me room to be a little bit arrogant for a moment. You know, humility is very important. But just give me a minute to feel myself. Like, give me a minute to just kind of be in my zone and pop my shit.
Of course. Listen, we got to be our own best cheerleaders, man. Okay. Big up Nefertiti. That's my sister right here.
Yes, peace. I've been trying to say what's up to my sister, Nasia. Another gun blazer right there. Another lyrical gun toter.
He's another double-holded.
Correct.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I mean, you know, I think it's important that we got to pat ourselves on the back. Nobody else is going to do it, you know. Like,
right. And this album is about a balance of these different emotional spaces that we go through. The title, Awaken the Sleeping Giant, is about just that. It's about this sense of dimming your light versus awakening to the light and embracing the light and being comfortable in your excellence, you know, and no longer kind of shaming or shunning that, regardless of who like it or who don't like it. And at the end of the day, you're doing yourself a disservice first, but then you're doing your family, your fans, the world, whomever a disservice, because you don't know how that could potentially be inspiring someone to do them or to heal or to, you know, confront something that they want to deal with or need to deal with. So ultimately, like, not being your optimal self, not reaching your apex, or at least trying to, is just, you know, is hurting you and it's hurting everyone around you. So this is about awakening to your power, and embracing it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fine line, right? You know, between, you know, confident, arrogant, like cocky, right, or whatever. You know, it's like, but you know, the world is rough, man. Like, if you are not standing on your own too, and really, you will get walked all over.
Definitely, you know? That's the norm. That's the norm, especially in the space of what we do here.
Yeah, I mean, you just get taken advantage of. You know what I mean? Like, so I want to jump into this joint because I struggle with this one, and so here we go. Let's see if
drifting through the thick of it, slow its wicked grip got me sitting still. Therapist suggesting prescription pill to tame it. Don't wanna claim it, carry same shit, but it's in the pit of me. Can see it vividly, don't give it legitimacy. Awkward even talking about it, walk around it tiptoed, but zip lip and implode. So info be intro to pin code resolution. Stay stressed, hard to rest without restitution. Fight or flight, I wanna rest trust, but gotta be the best of. So rest what? Chest up, brown, touch, ride and die, pedagogues with guys. Robs you dry, needing KY to ride the slide. I mode emotion, slippery slope, interest in trope. Leave you still in broken side. Post, giving all you have aside from pride. No longer soft and feminine. How to cope.
Flag me quick. Yo, anxiety. Next joint, y'all.
Shout out to Sean over there in the building, doing things, big things too.
Yo, talk about this, man, because I this is a consistent aspect of my life since ye high, you know what I mean? So and just, and the one thing I've often said about like 2024 or these current times, I shit on him like, oh, I used to be was better in the 80s. I do appreciate the spotlight on mental health these days. And, you know, you know what I mean, especially among, you know, people of color, men, black, and just people in general. And what's good? Where is this coming? I mean, I can see where it's coming from, but talk to me about it.
Yeah, Bree said I got anxiety because that's certainly in the hook. You know, anxiety is really, this song is really, really dear to my heart, as is a song that I haven't shared, but will be, you know, another surprise for the album coming out called Denial, that features Illa G and Pretty Bully, that also is talking about mental health and things of that nature. Anxiety, one lyrically, is probably one of my favorite, if not my favorite joint for myself lyrically on the album. Shout out to Breeze who recorded this, and shout out to Jay DePina, who is the producer for this track. I struggle with anxiety. It's a real thing for me. So it actually came quite fluid for me to talk about it as far as lyrically. And I thought it was really important to start having these conversations and using our crafts and our voice to talk about real stuff, right? My daughter, shout out to my baby, she turns 18 tomorrow. I'm a grown woman, you know, and I want to talk about grown things. You know, I could chop up lyrically and we could go bar for bar. We could talk about metaphors and all of that and similes. And that's great because that's important to be able to exercise those parts of the craft. But then it's like, okay, what else are you doing? What else are you talking about? What other things? How else are you stretching creatively and conceptually? And so anxiety, I would say 20 years ago, easily, like 20 years ago, roughly. I don't know if it happened because of like the after 9/11 situation, where there was like something I didn't even realize, but I believe in therapy. And so I was going to a therapist and I was trying to pinpoint, like, what is this whole situation with anxiety? Why am I experiencing anxiety in this way? And so what was happening was I was having anxiety over bridges, like driving over bridges. And I used to go to school in Long Island. So I took the Throgs Neck Bridge all the time. And it was never an issue for me, right? I never thought about it consciously. I would pride myself on being able to get from the Bronx to LI in like 35 minutes or 30 minutes, you know? So I never had an issue until after 9/11. And this particular therapist, although I didn't lose anyone directly in 9/11, she was talking about the possibility of like post-traumatic stress disorder and how that was happening to people with the association of bridges, even though I wasn't on a bridge or even though I didn't have any loss in that way, just kind of environmental. And I don't know if that's the root of what this is. I start to psychoanalyze myself and think about, well, is it this idea of a bridge symbolically and going from one point to another and fear, you know, because it's been bothering me for so many years. And so I said, you know, I've been dealing with that. I kind of put that there. Here's the ill thing. This is the interesting thing about the mind, or one of the many interesting things, is that it went from just bridges and it escalated to like long distance driving, like even highways. Like if I have to go an extended period of time on a highway, like my brother Breeze, he lives South Bronx. So for me, I know the different routes to take in order to get to him, so that I don't have to take the Bruckner Expressway because it's elevated. Like it's weird, it's trippy. And so even though there used to be a lot of shame associated with one feeling this way, two, definitely talking about it. And it also affected relationships because there's a lot of people who I love who are friends of mine who live in Brooklyn. Even Breeze, when he was in Brooklyn, I seen Breeze like maybe 2 or 3 times because I was just not taking that drive out there. So it's affected me in feeling like inferior with my own limitations. It's affected relationships, but it's also the reality of what my situation has been for quite a few years. And I've danced around it. I've found other ways to navigate around it. And I just found this song really freeing to be able to talk about it and to start to work therapeutically through there by having the conversation. And there's so many other people who struggle with anxiety and have different triggers of what like creates anxiety for them. And so I want to be able to, through this song, where I'm hoping that one, it'll be able to give people the freedom to feel safe enough and courageous enough to share what it is that they might be dealing with, and courageous enough to understand in hearing someone else is struggling, so that they know there's support out there. There are other people who are having these different feelings. There's people who have anxiety getting up every day and going to work. There are women who are experiencing postpartum depression after having, you know, a child and the things that comes with that. We don't talk about it enough. And like you said, culturally, we don't really, we shun this idea of therapy in the Black and brown community too much. And a lot of that comes from this root of don't talk about your business. You know, like my family, my mother's Jamaican, my father's Trinidadian. So it's always like, our business is our business. You know, share our business with nobody else. You know what I mean? Like that's
Yep.
intimate. That's our stuff, you know? And so when you get into this way of thinking and it's conditioned, exactly, that's our song, Illa, and it's conditioned, it becomes hard to talk about things because you almost feel like you're going against your family value system, and then that becomes something spread throughout communities and neighborhoods, and then it just becomes a social way of survival.
Yeah, I mean,
right? Yeah,
absolutely. I was told like you don't cry, you don't
correct.
express no, like what you crying for? Like I'll give you something to really cry about. The hell you
Oh
crying
yeah,
for?
that was a big one growing up for sure. And I think that was more so too, not just for girls, but I think young boys, young men, you know, we sometimes joke, and my, you know, don't let Breeze and my brother Kev talk about stories. You know, when P was like, if something happened to her, we really got it, you know, as the boys and, you know, as the young men. And so there's so many layers and caveats to this, both from a gender standpoint and from a ethnic space.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of triggers. I think there's a lot of things out there because we're calling it anxiety. We have a label to it, but I mean, because you said you struggle with anxiety, I was thinking like everybody does, whether you call it something
Oh
or not.
yeah,
There's something that we all have, whatever, that kind of fucks with us. I don't care who you are. I'm sorry.
I
You know what I
agree.
mean? And so for me, it's time. Like I have an issue with time when I can't control time, which I can't. So I
Yeah.
can't control time. I can't control other people being late. I can't control other situations. I can't control delayed flights. That shit.
Ooh.
My bag's gonna get there. Like damn. So I don't check my bags. Like I make sure I pack a certain way so I don't have to check bags. I sit certain places. I mean, so you know, we all have our things. So
Yeah.
that's part of being here. And so I think it's good that we can like just build and talk about this stuff.
Absolutely.
So, like
Absolutely. It becomes a healing space. Like shout out to Sean, Paper Chaser, who was just talking about one of his, you know, situations. Like it's real. Like we go through real things. And I think when we can get to a point of normalizing these conversations, it helps us to realize that we're not here alone. And it also helps to give, I think, insight and support of ways that we can move forward. Or you could be like, yo, you in Riverdale? Okay, I know a therapist who's out there. Or you're in Newark, and become a support system even from that standpoint with referrals and things like that. Like, it's really important. We have a lot of work that we have to do internally. But when we have a sense of community and support, I think it helps to give the courage to move forward in those spaces.
word, yeah. Oh, family all up in here. Bad seat up in here.
Shout out to Bassy. So much family here.
My sister Nikki.
Danielle. Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's a big thing. Real quick, before we go on to something else, talk a little bit about the pills, though, man, because, for me, I'm keeping 100 the first time, probably sharing this, whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they wanted to put me on some shit, and I just felt dull. Like, I was like,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, yo, I want to feel something. Like, I mean, I was like, I gotta feel something. I'm a feeler. You can tell. I'm like, yo, I was just like, yeah, and it was crazy, man. And I was like, I can't rock with this, man. I was like, I need. So I burned my trees, and my therapist actually got me my med card because it's still medicinal here in Pennsylvania. So
Yeah,
I mean, for 7 years, that dude been holding me down. So, but
I think ultimately, I see Ella talk about pills is no bueno. I think ultimately, chemical drugs, things like that, ultimately, I don't think that that's the best solution or that should be the immediate go-to. However, and this may offend some people, however, I do feel like if it's that clinical, if it's that much of an issue, and you do find something that works for you, you might want to consider it depending on to the extent. Now, there's caveats to this. Will that thing now potentially create another issue in your body? Yes. Was I prescribed something when I was dealing with like my anxiety and depression sometimes, some years back. Yes. Did I take it and try it? Yes. Did it make me feel very zombie-like? Yes. And I didn't like the way it affected my body, so I stopped taking it. But again, I think there's degrees to it, right? And
some people need fucking pills.
So this is what I'm saying. There's levels to it. So like right now I'm drinking. I was coming on the show. I had just finished teaching. I had a quick moment to grab something to eat. And I'm not gonna lie, I was feeling excited, but I was also feeling a little bit nervous. And so I was like, let me go get some chamomile tea. And then I put my bedtime tea in here, my sleepy time. And I knew it wouldn't knock me out, but it has things like valerian. It has things like kava kava. So they're natural herbs that you can take that can also address issues like anxiety, like depression. You know what I mean? Vitamin D, going outside with the sun, helps with depression. Believe it or not, cashews, eating cashews, cashew nuts, if you're not allergic, that helps with depression. So there's natural things that you can take to counteract these things, to work through these things from a natural space, but they also take time. Your body can't be like totally toxic and then you expect to take some natural herbs and it's just going to magically remedy you, right? Illa's talking about magnesium, absolutely, which is super important too for so many things. So it's about, if you're going to go this complete holistic route, first you really need to like kind of cleanse your body so it can absorb, so you can actually benefit from these things, right? And then after that, you know, you have to do your research like anything else in order to find out, well, if I'm dealing with this, what helps with that, both food wise, because food is medicine, and of course, you know, herbs. So there's levels to it. I don't want to say if you absolutely, you know, someone might be schizophrenic and there might be something that they need to take that is going to assist in that immediate time. But yes, detoxification of your body is real. So I think there's layers. I'm not the first to say go jump and do it. Even traveling, I don't like heights. And so I have anxiety pills for when I travel. I never use it. I took half of one of those pills when we did a show in Italy, and that was so many years ago. Now I just take it with me. It's more of like a mental, like almost a placebo effect. I never take it, but I take it with me on the plane just in case I need it, you know? So it's more of, I think, having the mental security, but meditation too. You know, I was spraying the room with sandalwood. Look, I have my processing, you know what I'm saying? To just kind of bring in that Zen space, and you also have to be willing to work on it. You know what I'm saying? You have to be willing to address it.
Yeah, being honest. Gotta be
honest with yourself. There's, as Breeze used to say, like, there's no problem if you don't see a problem. Yeah. You know what I mean? If there's no issue if you don't see an issue. So you have to be willing to do it. He said that's me with the asthma pump. And dandelion helps with that. But if he's in an emergency situation, that's my brother. I'm not going to be like, yo, smell this dandelion. And I'll be like, yo, where your pump at? Like, you know what I'm saying? We can get to the dandelion later. I want to make sure you're okay immediately.
Right.
Yeah, I'm not getting dandelion in that situation.
So the album's pushed back. I don't know if you have a release date, but
yeah, we're pushed back. You know, this is the first formal announcement of the pushback. We were looking at spring initially. It's going to be pushed back. It's looking more like summer. But that's okay. I'm going to be out there in the summer. I'm going to be promoing it, you know, my little, you know, looking cute, you know, on the beach, or I don't know, walking to the park or something. I don't know, playing my joints, doing my little FaceTime situation, you know, so I'm here for it. Some ain't going to hurt nobody. It is what it is. Y'all ain't going to be mad at me promoting it in the summer. Trust. You're going to enjoy my summer promo post.
Okay. So summer, it's a banger. The joints I've heard are bangers. I mean, and it's got, so I'm going to run through the track list real quick. No particular order, as you said. Anger, gluttony, arrogant, shame, focus, which is another dope joint. Don't have a chance to play it. Inspired, gratitude, anxiety, denial, and power. So I'm excited to hear some of the other ones. You know what to do when you know what I'm saying. You know, give them a few
for sure. And also Manifest. Manifest is also on there, produced by Superstition, featuring Apathy and Mickey Fax. There's a lot happening here. There's so many people to shout out. Kid Bear One Production, King Rem. I have my notes too because I just want to acknowledge folks and thank them Open Mike Eagles featured on Shame, a joint coming out. MP production wise, Illa G again, Pretty Bully. Key Turner, my sister.
Yeah.
B Money production. Havoc
Yeah.
actually did a joint on this. Gratitude, which I couldn't be more in gratitude for that. I mean, that's a damn dream come true. It's surreal, really.
Yeah.
So there's so much to be grateful for on here on this project.
No,
I love y'all too. I love y'all
dope.
too.
So we got a few more minutes, and I want to ask you a couple of things before we get out of here. I got another show.
Please.
For dope producer, architect, building with him in a minute. So did I see you with apathy, eating lobster rolls and shit?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Hot.
I love App. App is the coolest.
I be getting jelly. I'm like, the fuck out of here. Like, fuck out. Like,
yeah, man. App is the coolest. He had been talking about, yo, you got to come up to CT. You know, we were, you know, I can't really say much, but we definitely have this collab on this project.
You ain't have to say much. You was there.
I mean, you know, we'll see. But at the very least, I will say this: at the very least, these people are family. And I think it's also just good to get up with folks. We don't do that enough too. It don't gotta be a song. It don't gotta be a joint. It don't gotta be some secret project we're working on. It's just like, yo, that's my man. I want to get out to CT and just come out for a minute. So he put me on to some lobster rolls. I came back to New York and was like, what's this garbage? You know, there was like some little lobster roll. I had to show the dude a picture at the restaurant. I was like, this is a lobster roll. In Connecticut, they have lobster rolls like this. And, you know, he was ashamed, but he still brought me the bill. And I still had to pay it. So it was just cool to be out there and just connect and build with him a little bit. You know, that's fam right there.
That's dope. That's my brother right there, man. That's we, you know, CT all day, man.
Yeah, for sure.
Get me going about Connecticut. So
I know.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. That's home for you too, for sure.
Yeah, that's my home. So yeah, real quick before we get out of here. Do you feel some sort, we talked a little bit about this when we were building with Brother Jay. Do you feel any sort of responsibility or desire to address, step up, single out, or not even single out, but just address the ratchet wildness from a lot of the ladies these days?
I think that the issue is not a gender-based issue at this point at all. I don't think it's ever been a gender-based issue. I think ratchetness exists, period, whether we're talking about whatever. And even right now, we have to be so mindful of how we even label things, you know, non-binary. You know what I'm saying? Like, we have to be very, no, but it's real. But it's
real,
it's
right? Real. I know.
I mean, that's a whole nother carrying the culture, you know, maybe episode. But I think there should be a sensitivity to things where at this point we're just addressing issues, and issues like ratchetness. There's no gender. Now, is there sometime functionality for ratchetness? Maybe to an extent. There's a place, perhaps on some level. Here's what I'm saying. Do I every day only eat broccoli? No. Before coming on here, I had a friggin' pizza with mushrooms. Now, do the mushrooms count as something good? Because, you know, to help with the inflammation, yes. But does that cheese now deal with it? Yes. Was that pizza delicious? Absolutely. Do I eat like that every day? No, I definitely shouldn't. Does it hold a place? So I'm not saying, yay, ratchetness, because if anything, that ratchetness has totally toxified our body, our system. And I mean that on a creative, music, psychological, all those levels. There's ratchetness everywhere. If you turn on the news, that's not ratchet. It's complete ratchetness, right? When is there anything that's really being talked about that's positive on the news? Not much. If we just look at it from the sense of positive, negative, or things that's toxifying our mind versus not. There's so much I don't know, because I don't really turn on the news like that. It's very difficult for me to absorb. There's just so much. So for my spirit, it's hard because there's a lot of ratchetness. So for me, ratchet is beyond music. It's about the way we think. It's about things that we're consuming. It's just to that word that I'm seeing in the chat now. There's just a lot of darkness, but there's still a lot of light too. So I think it's about really trying to outshine the darkness. It's about having joints like anxiety to talk about. It's about having joints like gratitude to talk about, right? Because those things are going to be there. Unfortunately, it's just there's an overconsumption of it and there's an oversaturation of it. And there's a reason why it's there. I think that it has a lot to do with conditioning and desensitizing people and muting people and affecting people's inspiration. Like there's reasons why things are the way that they are, and it's beyond the music being ratchet. It's about just life and shit that's happening on a global level.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Of course. No, I appreciate you for like going a little bit deeper with it. Yeah, it's certainly. I mean, we on the internet, you see, I mean, some of the stupid stuff I post, of course. I mean, it's wild, right? And the things that are there. So it's beyond, certainly beyond gender. But, you know, my question was just more like, just in terms of for the ladies, but even for the men, I mean, everybody, it's wild out there. So it doesn't, I mean, I don't think it's I think it's a gender thing there.
And it becomes like, what's ratchet? What's the ratchet talk?
I don't know.
Talking about bodies, talking about popping this. But then with dudes, it's like talking about money, talking about this, talking about that, talking about what they doing to women and how they address women. I mean, it goes, it's like a toxic relationship. You know, it is.
Listen, to be clear, it is. I mean, like I could see, like, I mean, the shit that's coming out of all these dudes, the drill music and all that stuff. So no, it's. Yeah, to be clear, it's definitely beyond just gender. So I appreciate you, you know, adding on to that. You know what I'm saying, and focusing on that.
We just got to provide more. And like Breeze was saying a moment in the chat, like who's promoting it? There's a reason why, and we know this. We've had this conversation about, you know, like major radio stations and what's creating all that intention. Why is this functioning? Why is it creating so much money? We know the bigger conversation here and how it's affecting us as a people and as a society and what that's doing. Because when you empower us, you know, think about, you know, if every group or half of the hip hop was sounding like Public Enemy message wise, and their messages that's out there, you know what I'm saying? Illa G, you got to get Illa on here. You know,
I've had Illa on twice. Yeah, 2 or 3 times we built it. He don't be getting loose. He gets loose in the comments. He don't get loose like that when he's on the show. He be more like
very Scorpio like.
He be more like big up Gitsudin. He be more like he's always chilling. Like he's getting loose in the comments. But so yeah, no, big picture, man. We all got to do better. Like I mean, it's like what we do and what we put out there and stuff like that. But I always say though, because people say we're always looking at the people who promote it and push it and all that shit. In the end, the artists, like if we're just talking about music, the artists still have a choice. No one's putting a gun in your head. Like you still have,
true. That's true.
You gotta have some accountability as an artist, as a person. I mean, for instance,
I don't disagree with that at all.
I'm vegetarian, and I've like turned down jobs because it had me like dealing with like meat shit like in the past. So you know, like it made good money. So I just think that that's very important too. Like in the end, there's a lot of people that have a role in this, but we have choices. Some people take the hard route, and they understand it's going to be a hard.
This is the hard route. But you're absolutely right.
You still got your integrity, and I think that's important.
And you still have an opportunity to touch someone in an authentic way. You know what I'm saying? So absolutely, man. Before we go, I got to shout out Juggernauts too, my brothers. You know, the physical copy of the re-release, the album that everybody loves forever and ever and ever again, is actually being repressed up. Shout out to Coal Mine Records and Matic Records. So we're doing a little partnership with these folks, and we're going to be putting out the physical copy of the re-release once again. So, you know, once it comes, you got to get it because it be going very quick.
Notes, you got a teleprompter over there. You got the teleprompter out and everything.
I mean, I got my notes because I'm an educator, so I came prepared. I want to make sure I'm acknowledging folks. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the Hip Hop Education Center, Fresh Bowl So Deaf. They do an event at Lincoln Center April 5th. April 5th. Shout out to Martha Diaz. Shout out to the team over there. Lincoln Center, Fresh Bowl So Deaf, Women in Hip Hop happening at Lincoln Center. Save the Hip Hop Culture about to come on at 10. And then, you know, let me let you do your job. I just want to acknowledge folks and send love. That's all I'm saying. I just want to make sure. And the biggest shout out to you, because I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for you. So I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, man. You flowing. You out here like whatever. I ain't gonna even say nothing. Nesma said add integrity to the album. I second that. You know what I'm saying? Since the album ain't done, though, just drop that shit.
I mean,
you know what I'm saying?
The whole album as a whole collective is integrity. That's what it is. It's about standing, as my daughter would say, standing on business. So, you know, she told me there's a dance for it now. I said, this is just crazy. This is ridiculous. I can't.
We can't. Like, I mean, we're in the age of people eating Tide Pods and walking up crates, and that's like fucking, you know what I mean, long neck, wide neck type shit. I mean, like, the fuck shit that people are into. So, I don't know. Good and bad of the internet, good and bad of life, whatever. It's all good. Yo, I thank you so much, man. This was fun.
Thank you so much. It's always fun, and it was overdue. Thank you for your patience with me, man. Keep throwing things, but like put something soft on it so it doesn't scratch up the walls when y'all are throwing like heavy objects.
Now you keep putting out the bangers, man. So, you know, we appreciate you. We rock with you.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? You, the whole crew. I mean, like Breezes and man. So we do a basketball show every.
I love y'all. Show, you know, you got to talk about hip hop and sports. You know, every analogy, this dude stayed with some hip hop analogy in sports. So I love that for y'all.
One coming up soon, and about right before the playoffs start. We're gonna be talking basketball. So yeah, so I love y'all, man. I hug you from afar, man. Y'all good people.
I hug y'all back, man. I love y'all. Thank you so much. Thank you for doing what you do and pushing the culture forward and keeping the conversations going. This is so important, man, for sure.
We appreciate you, everybody. This will be up on our YouTube channel. All 144 episodes of all our shows. Apathy, everybody,
all the fam.
Nesma, everybody in it. We need to get Breeze on everybody. We had everybody on there. So rock with us. Rock with Queen Herawin. It's gonna be dope. I'm patient. You're teaching me patience because it's not.
You have been super patient. Thank you, and thanks to thank you to everybody who showed up today in the live. Much love. Yeah, so we appreciate y'all.
This will be up. We rock it in 2 minutes with Save the Hip Hop Culture and the Architect, producer, Bay Area, killing shit. So, thank you. Peace.
All right.